Welcome to the Silver Broom Ministries Samhain service. I am your Reverend for this morning, Reverend Mark, often called the Irreverent Reverend. If you're new, you'll see why. This is the last Sabbat in the Wheel of the Year before we begin again at Yule. I will be doing the Yule service this year, and I will be taping it, but that's it. I just wanted to complete the full Wheel of the Year series, because I started it in bulk. Should have started at Yule, just didn't have it together for that. So, welcome. Is this your first time in a Sunday service, or is any of you first time at the Silver Broom? Well, may the gods bless you and help you through this, because I can be a bit of a wild ride. I am clearing out a head cold. I'm going to give you the best that I've got, which might not be my usual 110%. It might be like 90, 95, but we do our best, darling. There's a chair right over there. You might have to just come around. First row. If other people do come in and they need a chair and you can sit on the floor, please sit on the floor. Just be mindful of the wire. But there's a lot I want to talk about. Fuck, where to start? Okay, so there are 8 Sabbats in the Wheel of the Year, of this you know, yes? There are also 7 chakras in the physical body, the main one, but there is an 8th one that hovers over the head. Each chakra correlates to a different Sabbat of the Wheel of the Year. Did you know that? That's something that I discovered. I say this at pretty much every Sabbat I do, from a book that I read called Anatomy of the Spirit by Marilyn. Brilliant teacher, medical intuitive. I adore her. I think she is the top of the field of what she does. Never met her in person, but she's a tough cookie from Chicago, and I love how ruthlessly compassionate she is. And I'm getting there, certainly getting there, particularly today I'm getting there. So she's the one who took the 7 chakras in the physical body and aligned them with the 7 sacraments of Christianity and the 7 levels of the spheres of the tree of life. And each one has a universal truth connected to it, except for the 8th chakra, which she does go into that book and talks about it in other places, sort of hovers over the head. So briefly, usually I stand up and touch my ass. You're just going to have to imagine me touching my ass. I know that's impossible to do. So the root chakra is Yule. Okay? Think about it. It's the birth of the sun, S-U-N, S-O-N, if you want to go Christmas. And it is where babies come out of, if you think about it. Right? So it's the birth, it's the seed, it's the root of the year. Its sacred truth is all is one. All is one. We are all one. We all appear different, but really there's only one life force. It's not like you get a life force and you get a life force. That's my Oprah moment. You get a life force and you get a life force and the tree has one. No, it's all just one life force. We're all one. And we all agree with that until it's election time. Okay, 2nd chakra, Imbolc. Okay, Imbolc's the 2nd chakra, the sacrum, all about creativity and sexuality. Its sacred truth is honor one another. It's one-on-one relationship. So you have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with sexuality. You have an umbilical relationship with other people through which your spiritual lessons are received. Have you noticed? It was Marianne Williamson, bless her soul, who said the 2 people in the world you tend to judge the most are the serial killers and the tyrants of the world, and whoever it is you happen to be sleeping with. She's right. Course in Miracles says that the gates of heaven are entered 2 by 2, but that doesn't necessarily mean blissfully. It's like that's how you get your spiritual lessons, is through other people. As John Paul Sartre said, hell is other people. Well, then so is heaven if you know how to work it, right? You learn your lessons, you grow, you evolve. Excuse me. Solar plexus, Ostara. Like, think, it's the sun, solar. It's when we finally get into the warmth of spring. Its sacred truth is honor thyself. How easy is that? Does it get easier? I don't know that it gets easier.
Easier said than done.
Somebody wants you to do something and this says no, but peer pressure and you say yes anyway. Your gut says yes, but everyone else is saying no to honor yourself. That's hard. And notice it's your stomach, it's your digestive system, that you can burn a hole, you can get an ulcer by not really honoring your truth, your honor code, what you will and will not do, your personal boundaries. Really, really important. Honor thyself. The heart chakra. Oh, we just love the heart chakra, don't we? So much fun, the heart chakra, except its deadly sin is wrath. Oh yeah, they all have deadly sins and graces too. We're just not going to focus on those so much today. Beltane, right? The Christian sacrament, by the way, is marriage. That's one of the coordinates that really clicked it into place for me when I was reading Anatomy of the Spirit. It was like, oh my God, it's the sacrament of marriage. It's the heart chakra. It's Beltane. Ding, 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 bells went off. I was actually at a nude beach reading, because that's what I do at a nude beach. I sit and I read. It keeps the pervs away when you're sitting and reading. So, love is divine power. The sacred truth. Love is divine power. Now, I do not mean ego love, sexual love. I don't mean eros. I mean, it is the divine power at our core. We are love. It's not something that we have or don't have, that we give or take. It is something that we are, but that's a high level of consciousness. Got it? You with me? Taking a little chakra journey up to the throat. Having so much fun in the throat today. The throat chakra. Litha. Now, Litha, summer solstice. Full power of the sun. Right? Longest day of the year. It's like going 1,000 miles an hour. How one choice, one word, one decision can change everything. By the way, have you ever said something when you were angry that you later regretted? Oh, you're all still in human bodies just like me. So also the power, willpower to choose to forgive, to decide to forgive or not. Sacred truth, I love this one. Surrender your will to the divine. Oh, good God. The way I've been saying it for the past 2 years. Oh, God, Goddess, Zeus, Buddha, Jesus, Fred, Wilma, Zan, Jaina, Shaggy, Scooby, whoever. I surrender. I let go. You show me. I don't know. I am willing to be shown. It's a pretty good one, huh? Especially when you're going 1,000 miles an hour. What does it take to turn the wheel when you're going that fast? You got to palm it and you do... Third eye, Luch Nasad, which is really good if you have a little bit of a sinus infection, brings it right up. Luch Nasad, also called Lammas, although I believe that's the Christian version, loaf mass. It's when the first harvest comes in. And that harvest thing is kind of interesting because the sacred truth of the third eye is seek only truth, which often means identifying and weeding out illusions, because you can only see truth or illusion. There's nothing in between. Either not true. What's true is you're sitting in a room in Sayville or watching this on a video. But the truth is that this world is a quantum hologram and nothing is solid. That you're not a body. Sorry, you're not a body. You're a spirit that's had more bodies than some people have had underwear in this life. Some of you have been around since Lemuria. Atlantis. I just came in Atlantis. I just wanted to play with the rocks. I probably helped sink it. That's why I'm probably in Sayville. Karma shmarma. So, to seek only truth. Does that make sense with the first harvest of weeding the garden? And allowing the truth to be there and seeking not just what's true, but truth. Really important one. Crown chakra, Maven was the last sabbat that I did, and we all love the crown chakra. Why? Because it's got jewelry named after it. You know, wear yourself a crown. Crown chakra, Maven, live in present time. Live in present time. Any Eckhart Tolle people in the room? Oh, hell I am. He saved my shit this past year or so. I'll meet him someday, I have a feeling. To live in present time, because all you have is now. There is no past, there is no future. Talk about truth. There is no past, there is no future. But how often are you in the present moment? You have the true present moment, presence, but then you have the false present moment where you're thinking about the past or you're thinking about the future, where you appear to be in the present moment, but you're really not. All right? All of these are biologically programmed within you. Chakras, Sanskrit word meaning wheel of life, wheel of light. sort of like a revolving door where matter comes into spirit and spirit comes into matter on these 7 different levels. All these different lessons, all these different sacred truths, all these different processes going on that actually distribute your lessons into your cell tissues as well. So that's why if you read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, oh Louise, wherever you are, bless your soul. She crossed over a few months ago. That she was able to kind of look at what the spiritual lessons were behind certain, not just physical body parts, but ailments and thought patterns that could help do that. Well, the chakras do that automatically. So Carolyn Mason, Anatomy of the Spirit, says your biology is your biography. So if you ever feel like you're done healing, you still got a body, try again. We all have stuff to do. Once you're done learning, I don't think you need a physical body anymore. And then you don't die, you lay the body aside. That's what I'm shooting for in this life. And over these past few days, I'm like, am I ready? Gay witch found dead on his couch. No signs of foul play, just a head cold. Died of a head cold. That's kind of a lame way to go. But that brings us to now our 8th chakra. Sometimes called the upper room, the star center, the soul center, the spirit center, the higher self. It's been called all sorts of things, but the thing is it has no sacred truth because it has no words. Now, the crown chakra has no words either. The third eye is the one that does language. The crown chakra, we give it words because we can relate to it in the physical body, but that's Samhain. That's the 8th chakra. It's the invisible world. It's the home of the higher self. It's archetypal power. It's where your sacred contracts are, your pre-incarnational agreements. And you said, in this life, I'm going to be an artist, but I'm not just going to be any kind of artist. I'm going to be a starving artist. Or I'm going to be a scientist, but I'm not just going to be any kind of scientist. I'm going to be a scientist that changes DNA. Or I'm going to be a mother, even though I'm in a male body, but I'm going to mother creativity in myself and other people. Or I'm going to learn self-esteem and boundaries through playing victim over and over and over and over and over again, which everybody's got that one. Or on and on and on and on and on. Read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace. That'll blow your chakras wide open. And then they'll shut down again, and then you'll have to work on them. It is, however, perfect for Samhain. This is another one of the coordinates that really made sense to me when I put together 8 Sabbats, 8 Chakras. Should be a good name for a book, 8 Sabbats, 8 Chakras. Because what do we dress up for as Halloween? We dress up archetypally. Slutty something. Slutty cop. Slutty nurse. There's a lot of archetypal sluts, by the way. Slut is not a prostitute. Slut doesn't necessarily do it for money. I should know. I used to be one. I'm reformed now. I'm clergy. That's but it is like vampires and witches and all of these things that we dress up for are usually extrapolations of archetypal patterns. What is an archetype? It's a neutral pattern, neutral meaning both positive and negative, it comes to a balance, of routing soul power. So that's why I think it's very interesting to see what people dress up, bless you, to see what people wear at Halloween, because it gives me a little insight into the patterns within themselves that they're usually not aware of. Cool? So there is no sacred truth for this one, except the only one I can come up with is, I am. And then you cease speaking. Because when you leave this body, do you still have gender? No, you ain't got no. You ain't got no body. Right? Do you have political affiliation? You're dead. No. Do you have racial consciousness? No. That's all genetic. That's all in the body. So this is, I posted this on Facebook this morning. Today's talk is about the veil, but that we exist on both sides of it all the time. You don't stop being spirit when you come into a body. In fact, you're more on the other side of the veil than you are on this side of the veil. Teeny tiny itty bitty little part of you incarnates. In your bodies right now, unless you are fully present in the body, and I can see some of you are, some of you aren't. But even then, you're not fully incarnate here. You would explode. Your body would short circuit. Imagine 10,000 volts in a 9-volt battery. Now you have moments moments of bliss, moments of ecstasy. How long do they last? That's what I call moments, right? But I'm learning for myself that the path, the spiritual path, is about building the interior scaffolding so more and more and more of the truth of who I am can get the word incarnate. Look at that word. What's the root of the word incarnate?
Corn.
Carn, which means what?
Meat.
Meat. Boy, that sort of takes reincarnation down a peg, doesn't it? Come back into meat. The action of coming back into meat. I kind of like that context. So building the interior scaffolding, having the circuitry and the wiring in place gradually over time, nobody does it in a weekend, so that you can come into physical form fully and essentially learn how to create reality deliberately. What is the verb of a god, by the way? What do gods do?
Create.
They create. Will you create your own reality? Psychologically first. Absolutely psychologically first. Someone doesn't say hello to you. Fucking bitch. You've already begun creating your reality. It's not their reality, it's a personal reality. Watch the news. What's your reaction? What's your response? Do you pray? Do you forgive? Or you... Did I do that below the camera line? No, I didn't. Fuck you, fuck you. I come from Italian. I just recently found out what that is. I really probably shouldn't do that on camera. Fuck it. Right? You create your own reality. But this truth of who you are knows everything. Knows everything. It is your higher self, your true self, your inner being, your angelic self, your God self, your Christ self, your Buddha self. It's on and on, transpersonal self. I've been studying this shit for so long that I've gotten used to different philosophies and teachings saying the same thing in different ways. And that's why I think the one place I don't see this show up, and we're teaching this again tomorrow night at Enlightenment Spells, which class cycle 2, Enlightenment Spells, is that witches need to know. Need to know that this is the costume and the makeup. This is the stage that we are strutting and fretting our hour upon. And no one stays in the same body forever. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? That's the funny thing about relationships, isn't it? Doesn't matter how good it is, someone always leaves because somebody's gonna die eventually. Unless it's suicide pact, you're in the same plane that crashes. That's kind of sucks too, but hey, they went out together, right? That you're never, ever a physical body. Let's go a little bit deeper. Who here knows the 5 magical elements? Come on. Cut this over my head. We've got air, thought. You're not your thoughts. You're not your mind. Because when you're up here, there's none of this. It's vision, not perception. So you're not your thoughts. That's the whole Zen thing. That's the whole point of meditation. Not trying to think the thoughts, is to watch them go by. Like tuning the radio. Country music, country music, country music. I miss WLIR. Yes, they stream online and I have an app, but I don't listen to it as often as I could. Right? 102.3 WBAB, right? You just listen, you watch it go by. But if you believe you're your thoughts, you get possessed by them. And you end up doing crazy shit. Yeah?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever done crazy shit because they believed a thought to be true? Everybody. Yeah. All right? Fire, your desire. How long do they last? I mean, you can have a slow burn. You can have a long burn. You can want something, want something, want something, want something. But how often have you wanted something, gotten it, and then you want something else? Like food, obviously. Tacos, 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 tacos. Pizza, 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 pizza. Right? So that's transitory. That changes. You're not fire. How about emotions? Are you your emotions? There's no such thing as an emotional person. There's they come and go. They're like the element of water. They flow through. They ebb and flow and ebb and flow and ebb and flow. That means there's no happy people and there's no angry people and there's no sad people and there's no depressed people. Now, I'm not saying people don't have emotional issues. And I'm not saying that there are people who shouldn't be on meds or any of that. To each their own. Live and let live. Fairly take and fairly give. But if you are identified with your emotions, then you get possessed by them and your emotions are running the show. Does that sound wise for a witch to do? Didn't think so. So you're not your emotions. And last we have the element of earth, the body. Have you been in this body forever? You will cast it off. You will cast it off. Sorry, it's Samhain. Yes, of course today we're going to commune and honor the ancestors. But what are the chances you're your own ancestor? What are the chances that you've incarnated along the same genetic lines a couple of times because you were interested in seeing how a particular dysfunctional pattern healed? Yeah, let's see how the martyr thing works out over 10 generations. Let's start it back. Let's start it back during the plagues. Since lives will be very short, right? Let's see how many we can take. You're not a body. You're not a body. But that fifth element, which I immediately go multipass, thanks, Mom. It's a great movie, though. It's the fifth element. Spirit, that you are. But if you're spirit, and you are, you're birthless and deathless. You're eternal. You can't be snuffed out. You are life. You're not a life. You are life. Eternal. Which means nothing you've ever done in this physical world matters. Now, on one hand, that sucks. You mean I cleaned my house for nothing? That's what I'm going through right now. I'm like, fuck. I scooped litter. Ooh. I hacked. What for? Of course, there's shit we got to do while we're in this level of it. But it also means that all of your errors, all of your mistakes, all of your fuck-ups, minor, major, colossal, lessons. Planet Earth is a schoolroom. It's a place of alchemy where we take lead and turn it into gold, metaphorically speaking, symbolically speaking. And to me, that's the path of the witch. You know, there's a reason why they couldn't get rid of us. Oh, I just saw lots of smiles around the room.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Because we embody the divine feminine on some level. Now, not all witches agree with this. Most Wiccans do. And we could talk about that another time. If you don't know the difference between a witch and a Wiccan at this point, look it up because it's so much fun on the internet to see the arguments going back and forth on that one. I'm a witch. I'm not technically Wiccan. I do go by the Wiccan Reed for sure because I understand universal law. I understand the rules of the game. What you release does return to you. It's not karma. Karma means action. That's all it means. But it doesn't just mean physical action. Thoughts are actions because thoughts are things. So what you think comes back to you multiplying as well. Whoopsie, right? So it makes sense to me that the divine feminine, the internal, the non-physical, is our womb. It's where we come from, into which we will return. The goddess is both womb and tomb. She is the revolving doorway. She's that 8th chakra, the higher self, the true self, the God self. So now that we've got our coordinates in place, any questions? Have I blown your mind in the first 20 minutes? I could just clap my hands and say thank you so much, but I'm not going to.
What was the book you said? Louise something?
Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I read that book when I was like 17, 18 years old. I am now 49 that I've lived this long as proof that the gods must exist. They've gotten me this far. Oh, any of you follow me on Facebook or Instagram? Did you see those pictures I posted yesterday? While cleaning out my well, actually, Amy found it in the closet, my old modeling comp card. Oh, fuck, I almost passed out. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Very pretty.
Yeah, I was pretty. I know, I looked at it and I said, no, I'm sick on the couch. I'm like, what happened? Time happens. But that's when I was reading You Can Heal Your Life. Like 1986, 87. been doing this for a really long time in this life. Now I kind of get a glimpse of why. I want this to be my last life on Earth. I want to graduate from Earth School just to see what else is out there. Like what's going on Venus this time of year. I wonder what's going on Uranus. I can't go for that joke. I'll never be able to. That's part of my contract, I guess. Or Alpha Centauri, or another dimension that's completely non-physical. Oh, just to be somewhere without presidential elections would be nice. Or no need for government. Or maybe there is a experience of pure divine oneness where there is no thought. There's just that. Oh, down for that. But who knows? But I know I have to complete all of my contracts here to do that. And if I have to take another life, that's fine, but I'm coming back as a gorgeous lesbian in my next life because I'm to here with men. Whew, we'll see. Which does bring me to another part. Let's talk about love. Let's talk about love. You know, the 8th chakra does have true love. But when you hear true love, don't you think of Once Upon a Time? I'm still watching it. It's still a good series. I like what they're doing this season. But how true love breaks all curses. Right? True love conquers all. Well, what else could really do that than the full presence of the higher self, the divine truth that you are? What else could really do that? It's the only thing that could render curses or anything that needs to be overcome as an illusion. That's what we have the opportunity now to do at Samhain. And we have mighty forces alongside us. Spirit guides. I haven't done it yet, but I will make the prayer. I will call in our collective. You'll hear it. You'll feel it. This is where they reside. Your guides, your masters, your teachers, your gods, your goddesses, your saints, your angels, your totems, your healers, your ancestors. All of that stuff. All of them. Rooting for us. No judgment. Why? Because they know we're playing essentially a virtual reality video game. That the majority of who we are is up here. Individually as well as collectively. And yet so many people strive to hear them. I swear I see people in meditation go, like, what are you doing? It looks like you're constipated. You eat too much rice? What's going on? I'm trying to hear my spirit guides. It's like, oh, take a deep breath. This is silent. Doesn't mean they can't communicate. But you know, they don't have vocal cords. The non-physical don't have vocal cords, so they communicate in a different means, a different modality. To go into silence. This is what prayer and meditation is. Oh, I'm meditating to manifest more money in my life. That's a lot of M's for one sentence. I'm meditating to manifest my true love partner. That's down here. Acknowledge it. I'm trying to create something deliberately. More money, more this, more that, less of this, less of that, whatever. But to transcend, whether it's through mantra work, there's no mantra today. So I usually do a mantra for Sunday services. No mantra today. To transcend, to acknowledge yourself as the silent witness. To watch the thoughts go by. To watch the suffering and the pain that we've accumulated over this life and so many others individually and collectively rise up and transform. Oh, I'm going to say the F word. To forgive. Ooh, it's stuck in my throat. To forgive. To truly forgive. Here's what true forgiveness looks like. I forgive the immortal spirit for it never really happened. This world's a dream. Shaboom. Some of you got that, some of you didn't. I was raised on 50s music, unfortunately. That's good stuff. Well, row, row, row your boat has it too. Merrily, 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 merrily. Not life is a harsh reality. That would be kind of a bummer of a song to sing around. Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. To forgive what happened in a dream. That life moves at the speed of forgiveness. And here we are at the last Sabbath of the Wheel of the Year, where we get to look back. The final harvest. Who have you not forgiven? Now, we're not going to go around the room on that. But whoever just popped into your mind is probably a good place to start, and you think it's just them. What errors have you made this past year? What whoopsies? What whoopsies? What mistakes? What wounds have you caused yourself? What harm have you done yourself or others? Oh, feel the energy of the room drop. Well, this is Samhain, where you get to see it from the highest vantage point you can while still being in a physical body. None of this is real. It's all just lessons. They're not problems. They're lessons. They're situations. But you have to be willing to forgive. Because your life down here, unfortunately and yet fortunately, moves at the speed of forgiveness. Otherwise, you're dragging shit behind you. You know, I was in therapy back 2001. The towers came down. And I love telling this story because it makes so much sense. I said to my therapist, there are all these things that I want to do, but I feel like every time I start to catch up to them, they slip out of reach. Like I can't catch up. Any of you ever experienced that? And she goes, well, Mark, you're dragging a dead elephant behind you. No, she wasn't speaking literally. I would have noticed. Pachyderm. Or that I could have trailed that myself without help. But that's sort of the process of getting that emotional baggage, mental baggage, spiritual baggage, the past, where the only thing you have is now. The only truth there is now. You want true love? How many of you want to experience true love? A show of hands. How many of you want to experience true love? Oh, raise all your fucking hands. Sort of. That means you have to be with people in the present moment, ignoring their past. But that's scary. I might get hurt. No one can break your heart. Only you can break your heart through false expectations of the future. See what a fucker time is? Samhain's timeless. That's why communing with the ancestors. First of all, now I don't want to poke too much at ancestral worship because it is a big foundation in paganism and the craft. But wouldn't they have reincarnated? So, okay, our ancient ancestors have just been hovering, waiting for one day out of the year for us to acknowledge and honor them. Particularly our witch ancestors, that doesn't sound like a witch. They'd be like, oh no, let's go look at Salem. Let's see what's going on in Salem now. Boy, I bet they're a little shocked to see what's going on in Salem now. I still think I came back for dark chocolate and sea salt.
Oh my god.
It's the most delicious thing I've ever had. Well, in a non-human form. I'm sure I came back for Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. I'm pretty sure I came back for not just women's liberation, I was born in 1968, but for the empowerment of women and probably the Wonder Woman movie. I'm pretty sure I came back for that too, and Linda Carter. As you probably guess, I'm more predominant female energy. I'm more yin than yang. Oh, what a shock. That's true. Sorry, ladies. But then it makes sense that it's easier to communicate with our ancestors. This time of year. Because why? The veils are thin. People say the veils are thin. Well, why is that? Why are the veils thin now? Do you know they're also thin at Beltane? Beltane is sex. Samhain is death. Eros and Thanatos. There you go. The opposite ends. One way you come in, one way you go out. Right? We have the opportunity to honor, to remember. But think about the word remember. Pop quiz. What is the true opposite of the word remember?
Forget.
Dismember. Dismember. Remember. To join. To join in the truth that we're really all one, that there's only one I am, there's only one life force. How different would your life be without the fear of death? Think about that. Now, hopefully you're smart enough to not go skipping into traffic on the LIE. That's the Long Island Expressway for people watching out of state. Hopefully Well, I could drink bleach. Well, you go right ahead. That's got to be a nasty fucking way to go. No, of course you'd still be wise. But you would feel a little bit more at ease in the game. That's what this world is. It's a game. It's a lesson. It's a classroom. It's nursery school for gods in process. GIPS. Gods in training is GITS. I prefer GIPS. That we're all learning and growing and evolving. So knowing that you don't die, that your ancestors, you're one with them. Your guides, your masters, your teachers, your gods, your goddesses, your saints, your angels, your totems, your healers, all of that stuff. There is no separation at the highest level of truth. But the first and greatest illusion is the illusion of separation. Well, E equals MC squared, if you just want to take it down to that level, everything's energy. Read some Stephen Hawking, he'll really blow your mind. This world isn't even fucking physically solid. It appears to be solid. Wouldn't you freak out if my hand went right through? Like the Flash. Love that show. But you know what? That's why I am so drawn to the whole superhero archetype. Is because they transcend. And I think witches have that capacity within them. Oh, whether or not we ever... Here, let's go back to Charmed. Manifest an active power. I would be Piper. You know me, I'd be blowing shit up and freezing it. I'm a hand witch anyway. You should see me with yellow lights. I was dating this guy. I had to pick him up from LaGuardia. He lived in the city. And I was like, watch this. Freezing yellow lights, moving people out of lane to lane. He was just like, that's really cool. Just don't ever do it with me in the car again. Yeah, vibrational control and manipulation is just something you learn over time. It's a skill. Easy. With practice, it's easy. But to be able to fully incarnate here, the only way out is in. Isn't that paradox? To live your life fully. To live your life fearlessly. What's the opposite of fear? Love. To live your life full capacity of love. And again, romantic love is a big old myth. I love you forever until you cheat on me. I love you unconditionally as long as you put the toilet seat down. Did you know that unconditional love means love without condition? I didn't think it was that big of a mystery. It's fucking written in the Word. How many of you are good at it all the time? I'm not raising my hand. I will sit on my hands. I'm working on it still. But since we are love, since that is the true nature of the 8th chakra, pure, divine essence, to incarnate that and live that way, to forgive, to accept, to understand that everybody is doing the best that they can at the level of awareness that they have. That's the foundation of true forgiveness. You ready? Forgive them, they don't know what they do. And if you're a witch, you're supposed to know a little bit more than everybody else. You're supposed to be a little bit more aware. You're supposed to kind of get, oh, well, the moon's in Pisces. Prepare. Put on the extra galoshes. And people are going to be a little emotional today. Oh, day after that, moon's in Aries. Anybody got a fire shield? Watch people's heads explode. To understand this world as you go, and to get that you're not doing it for anybody else, and yet you're doing it for the one. Your path is essential. Your own individual path as a witch, your own personal empowerment, your own personal understanding contributes to the collective awareness that's going on this planet. Now, what I find interesting is where we are on the planet. I'm not going to get too socio-political about this, but I'm pretty sure we came close to nuclear annihilation a couple of times this year. Like, not just watching the news, yes, watching the news, but getting that sense of, oh, fuck. This could be over very quickly. Now, I'm assured by my guides that we're all still here 100 plus years from now. Because I've been looking at other lives to come into, maybe. I'm incarnating in Italy next time, if I get my way. With really nice clothes. So probably Rome.
Good place.
Probably come back as a pagan lesbian with nice clothes in Rome. That doesn't sound too revolutionary. I'll probably be, I want to be named Diana if I can get away with it after the moon goddess. That would kick ass. Who knows, though? Ultimately a mystery. That we have no other choice as witches, at least, but to evolve. To expand our awareness and consciousness, to not just be at peace, but be peace. To be love. Now, that doesn't mean we have to hearts and flowers and fluffy bunny. Fuck that. That's not real. Thoughts and prayers. I'm so over thoughts and prayers. When I tell somebody I'm going to pray for them, I fucking pray for them. 5 minutes minimum. For me. Well, you think hitting like is going to really change anything? Maybe it does if you've got that much power that your thumbs up means I got you. Light a candle. How many of you have altars? Pretty much everybody goes up. Get 100 tea lights for $10. And if you're going to pray for somebody, take a ballpoint pen, scribble their name on the bottom, put that fucker in the middle, and actually pray for them. Not until the whole candle goes out, but give them 5 minutes. Can you think of one person that you absolutely hate?
Yeah.
Pray for them every day for 30 days, 5 minutes a day. If you can't do that, you're getting something out of the hatred. Because they're you in another body. That's the 8th chakra. That's the truth. And what you don't like in them is something you don't like about themselves. So any prayer that you're giving for them, any blood, pray for their happiness. You know that's a Dalai Lama thing. I will take sacred truth wherever I find it. That's why I'm so dangerous as a witch. I don't care if it's Taoist or Tibetan or Christian or Hebrew or doesn't matter, Sufi, I don't care. Truth is truth. Why have I mentioned? I want this to be my last lifetime. And like I said, if I have to come back, I am going to be one crazy hurricane of a lesbian in my next life. With Gucci boots with the buckles going all the way up. With spiked heels too. Just watch out. So for all of your sake, let's pray for that this be my last incarnation. But in the meantime, while I'm here, I am giving my best. And I recommend you do the same. You know why? Because then when you croak, even if you have to come back, you look over your shoulder and go, oh, that was good. Oh, fuck, that last bit, that last half. Woo! Ain't no stopping me now. Did you see that? Now go. 9.5, 6.4 from the German judge. 9.5. That's such an old joke. I think that happened when I was a kid, actually. That, to me, is what Samhain is for. Yes, of course, it's a time for mourning. But did you know it is the highest of the high holy days? Yeah, look that up. I didn't make that up. Samhain is the highest of the high holy days. I mean, we get 8 of them, but this is the big one. And I'm sorry, it's not Halloween. Not that I'm over Halloween. I was Clark Kent again because I'm moving my house on the date. It's fact. I pulled it off. But that's candy night. That's chaos night. And God bless Halloween. It's fun. Samhain actually hits on Tuesday the 7th. It's usually the 7th of the month. That's when the sun is at 15 degrees Scorpio. You can find it online. You just have to find what is the actual cross-quarter day. So I'm glad that we got to do this today because I can get it out in time. But remember, Sabbats aren't just one day. They're the beginning of a season. A 3-month season. Samhain doesn't really end until Imbolc. Yeah. The seasons overlap. So you have, let's see if I can do it in the correct direction. I have to do it backwards. So from Yule to Ostara, winter. Ostara to Letha, spring. Letha to Mabon, summer. Mabon to Yule, fall. Right? I did that right?
No.
From Mabon to Yule, yeah, it's fall. Autumn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're going back.
I'm doing it backwards for the camera and it's confusing me. Okay, so now, look, Candlemas is the season of rebirth. It's the first spring festival. It goes to Beltane. Beltane is the season of fertility. That's why it's the sex holiday. That's why everybody loves Beltane. I just love driving by a church that has a maypole. I'm like, you have no idea what that means. Okay. Season of fertility, right, until Lughnasadh. Lughnasadh is the harvest season, right, 3 months of that. To Samhain. Samhain is the season of the dead. We've got 3 months. that we can max out. Now, a month and a half until Yule. We do have that overlap. So think a month and a half every day. If every day you could pray and meditate 5 minutes a day. Now, 5 minutes a day is a light lift for me. I can spend hours in prayer and meditation. I am a minister. Oh, please, the people I have to read, what I have to teach every week, just dealing with my family, with all of this stuff moving. I need that. That is my oxygen at this point. But if you could do that, if every day you could say, all right, God, Goddess, all that is, I really want to forgive. Why? Because I am dragging this person around like I'm carrying a cross, and it's not even my religion. I am martyring, I am playing victim, and it's all going on in my head. Let that die. Let that be laid to rest. Because these grievances I'm holding aren't hurting anybody but me. Well, and if you want to look at harm, it's adding to the collective. It's adding to the stress and the hatred and the pain and the suffering on planet Earth that is getting like a pressure cooker. So what if your nervous system, your energy system, your spiritual path is a means of not just alchemy, but venting some of that stuff so that it heals? Your personal path has never been more important in the history of humanity than it is right now. But it ain't easy. You know, it was the funny thing about the News 12 interview. She did us really well. I mean, I think she gave us a really good portrayal. But, you know, I try not to read the comments, but if people really think that witchcraft is just candles, crystals, herbs, words, poof, if it were that easy, we would all be living in Bel Air. Hollywood would be ruled by witches, and the movies would be of a very different caliber, mostly. So counting for taste. Right? Wouldn't this world be vastly different? Wouldn't there be more witches if it was that simple? This is a rough path. How about, let's talk about the Underworld. I promise we're going to set shit on fire. I don't have this all set up to not set shit on fire. Let's talk about the Underworld. 3 levels of mind: conscious, subconscious, unconscious. All right? The conscious mind is the upper world. You really believe the dream is real. Okay? But that's like the tip of the iceberg. The subconscious. Okay? You can sort of see under the water and the ice, you're on the iceberg. You sort of see, but you can't see the whole thing. It's murky down there. All sorts of shit might be down there. The subconscious, that second level of mind. The unconscious. You can't see it, you don't know it. The upper world, the middle world, the lower world. Element of air, upper world thought. Okay. The subconscious, water. Pass through that to get to the underworld, earth. To our ancient ancestors, heaven wasn't up, heaven was down. Hades is underground. So isn't that funny that the lower 3 chakras navigate the conscious world, the literal world. These 4 chakras, it's water. You have to cross water to get to the underworld. It's crossing the river Styx. To get to the unconscious. The underworld is actually above you. Isn't that interesting? We're upside down. That's what Samhain is. That's why the veil is thin. We have the opportunity to move into, embrace our shadows. You know who embraces shadows mythologically? Anybody? The hero. The hero's journey. The descent into the underworld. Any good heroic story. The hero starts off all spry. Oh, I hear a call. Yippee, I'm off on a quest. And then shit goes down. And they end up in the underworld and they have to embrace their fears. Your shadow is your unfinished business. It's the dead elephant. But it's also your greatest gifts and your untapped strength. The next time you hear yourself whine or complain, I want you to ask yourself the question, what shadow has just possessed me? Suicidal thoughts, anybody? I laugh my ass off when I see that on a forum. have you ever had a suicidal thought? I was like, I'm a mystic. I just write no. Like, there's not enough room for me to explain my entire spiritual mystical path for you on this 2 lines of paper.
Yeah, there's like that much room in between the 2 lines.
Yeah, fuck that. You don't get to know my business
do you
unless
hear
you're paying me.
voices? I like
Do you
that.
hear voices?
I'm not telling you.
Your grandmother says hi. At 2, JC. This is the time for that. You get to be reborn. At both Yule and then in Bulk. Not that I'm doing this stuff, it seems like every day now. But it is laid out for us in a cyclic format, in the archetype of a wheel. So that we can really kind of get where we are in the world. Where so much illusion is being blown up and destroyed right now, so much dysfunction is being brought out. We've got to handle what the Course in Miracles says. We have to care for our corner of the garden. And sort of forgive everybody else. That everybody's doing the best that they can. Because you get possessed by your shadow almost on a daily basis, sometimes more than once a day. So if someone is really being possessed by their psychological pain, really read Power of Now, read everything by Eckhart Tolle. By the way, so much of his stuff on YouTube is just so good and it's free. You can't do anything about anybody else's pain, except be in the present moment with them, be aware, be present, so that when yours comes up, you can alchemize it and your consciousness burns brighter than it ever has before. If this is not the path of the witch, well, what the fuck are we doing? Personal transformation that adds to the transformation of the collective, the whole WHOLE, the collective consciousness. That we are in a dark time right now, and I'm not just talking the wheel of the year. I'm talking planet Earth. We are in a dark age. How long does it need to last? Does it need to last 100 years? Does it have to go on for much longer? It has never been the populace, the largest group of people that's transformed the world. You know that. It's always been a small handful of people. A small percentage. That maybe they did it externally, but a lot of them were doing it internally. Think about all those monks right now in monasteries, in ashrams, people praying, people meditating. Yet how many people are on the planet? Is that enough? It used to be. But then we got cell phones. We got the internet. And so the hatred and the fear was amplified. So it takes more of us. And that doesn't mean we all have to go into ashrams and monasteries. It's tempting. But unless they have a spa program, I really don't think I can go for very long. I need a massage. I need a massage now. Plus, they probably don't have Wi-Fi. And yet, through that very same medium, the internet, cell phones, what have you, more and more real truth is being communicated as well. Any of you doing the Deepak Oprah 21-day meditation challenge? Ooh, today was day 7. It's really good. It's all about being in the present moment. It's all about time. It's so good. They wouldn't be able to do that without the internet. It's a neutral thing. This whole world is neutral. Meaning that it's good and it's bad is completely equal. It's all about how you use it. Oh, fuck, where's my lighter? Welcome to Sunday morning service as the Reverend curses throughout. All right, we've been teaching this for 20 plus years. Ready? Pop quiz. Good or evil?
Good.
I could burn you with it. It's neutral. Everything in this world is neutral. So that even means the political situations we find ourselves in globally as well as individually. Neutral. It's how we use it. If that's not witchcraft, I've been saying for at least 30 years the greatest witch's trick is lemons into lemonade. That's alchemy. Lead into gold. Isn't that what empowerment is? And what could be more powerful than the Sabbat of Samhain to really get your coordinates and say, all right, no one needs to know. All they're going to see is for a couple of minutes a day, maybe an hour on the weekends, I'm going to close my eyes, and I might twitch a little. I might struggle. I might embrace and battle a demon, but I'm doing alchemy. I'm transforming myself. I'm raising my consciousness. I'm healing this world. No one needs to know. But I can come to the Silver Broom because they might have an idea. And a lot of us here do. Yes, we still get the teenagers that come in. I swear to God, we had one the other day. I said, what does this candle do? I said, it illuminates and melts. That's why I don't work in the store that often. You don't want me working in the store. I get a little salty around 5 p.m. But that my job here is as a spiritual teacher, a spiritual counselor, a reader, that when I read you, I am reading with the help of my guides, which we'll get to them in a few minutes. But it's to teach by example, damn it, and that's hard. Can you teach without saying a word? That's hard. But that doesn't mean you have to nail the dismount 24/7, 365. It means that you do take that time. And Samhain is when the field is supposed to lay fallow. We're not supposed to be out yang, 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 yang. We're supposed to take our yin time. We're supposed to be in balance all the time. But now is the time to decompose. To let things go, to let things dissolve. Forgiveness does that. Allowance does that. Somebody asked me once, how do you let go? They're going, let them. Yeah, right? Switch the words around. Let go. I let go and let God. I let go and let Goddess receive all energies that I have created. I release them to the will of the greater power of love. I see everything becoming fully balanced in its own time and place, and I accept there's a greater good manifesting in my now, so mote it be. Why do I know that so well? I learned that in something called the Course of Light back in 1988, 89, 90. Memorized it. Find your prayers. You don't have to have them tattooed backwards on your foreheads. You can read them in a mirror. Back in my bag, I've got a book of prayer. It was just a blank book that I've been filling in good ones that I've found all along so that when I'm like, what the fuck is going on? On a good day, what the fuck is going on? On a bad day, when the demon fear takes over, oh, you'll never see it here. I know to lock down, shut off the phone, struggle, deal, embrace, heal. Whew. If you're on the mystical path, I'm sorry, I know. It's not an easy path. But I don't think there's any other way out of this illusion than to accept there are certain mysteries. To know that you don't know, but that you're willing to be shown. To find the grace of hope that with the divine all things are possible, that you alone do nothing. And the grace of endurance that you will endure with integrity. To endure with integrity. To endure with grace. That's strength. That's love, power, and wisdom. That's, to me at least, what is at the core of the craft. We're universal lawyers. We study and practice universal law. But who knows, once we step out of this universe, what the rules are going to be. Maybe it's Cloud Cuckoo Land. Anybody Lego Movie? Oh, didn't register. Well, some of you got that one. Kind of like Cloud Cuckoo Land. That Batman song, though, was the best thing I ever heard. Hello, my name is Reverend Digression. We've got about an hour left. We'll probably cut this one relatively short. I want to talk a little bit about your guides. Let's do it this way. I am constantly guided, which means all of you are constantly guided too. It's just how it works. Because the highest level, we're all one. You're never alone, you're all one. Play with that word. Alone, all one. Alone, all one. Bless you. I've divided it into 10 channels because I want to know what the fuck I'm talking to. Guides. Can be someone who recently croaked, but they can help you find your keys. It's a pretty large category. It could be all sorts of things. Masters. That they nailed something here. Dr. Sui. Any Reiki people in the room? Right? Dr. Sui. Definitely a master of the healing arts. Teachers. I would think Julia Child. Save the liver. Dan Aykroyd, God bless you. Right? Would definitely be a teacher. Guides, masters, teachers. Gods, goddesses. Pantheons. Divine beings. Creators. I believe they take form, and I believe they take form through us. That they're all within us. Guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints. Now, saints is interesting because saints is somebody who nailed it while they were here. They graduated, but they still hang out and help through the power of intercession. They intercede. I kind of like that. That's kind of cute. So maybe I'll be a saint when I croak. Saint Mal of the Sayvillians. Guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints, angels. First of all, I don't believe that angels are babies with wings and diapers. That's annoying. I have another word for them. I'll tell you off camera. I think they are celestial beings that never incarnate. Unless, of course, you're talking about the guardian angel, which is your higher self, and I think that's just a perception. And by the way, I'm teaching that Wednesday after next, if you want to check out Angels and Archetypes online. It's going to be my Wednesday night workshop. Pretty heavy-duty shit. So, yeah, the guardian angel is you. It's your higher self. It's the whole of the story. But, you know, people are talking about Michael and Raphael and Uriel and all of that, and Azrael and Zadkiel and Kamiel. Those are beings that have never incarnated. What would they know about bills? Guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints, angels, totems. Mm-hmm. Now, if you took quarter calls, you know we go into totems. Lassie is a spirit animal. The totem of the dog is the spirit soul force of every dog that has been, is, or ever will be. It's a bit bigger. And you don't call it going, here, pooch. Rick Moranis. Hey, pooch. Raised on movies and TV. Gods, goddesses, saints, angels, totems, healers. Anyone could be a healer. I call to my healers regularly, particularly when I'm blowing green stuff out of every orifice.
Nice.
But ancestors. This is the one most associated with Samhain. But get that all of them are on the other side of the veil. Right? But ancestors, you have two different categories of ancestors. First, biological ancestor, of that you are familiar. Now, I was raised with the definition of ancestor that an ancestor was a family member that died before you were born. Apparently that's not true anymore. But that's what I was raised with. I don't know why that changed. I don't know who changed the definition. Somebody did. So of those, you know. Or maybe you don't know, and I'm still not doing that DNA test thing. Fuck that. I don't want to know where I'm from. The less I know, the better. But the other category of ancestor is what's called an archetypal or an ancestral. Sorry, archetypal, symbolic ancestor. If you're an artist, depending on the type of artist, if you're a painter, Picasso is an ancestor. If you're a chef, Julia Child, the Galloping Gourmet. I'm trying to shoot for dead people here if I can remember who they are. If you're a nurse, Florence Nightingale. You sort of get, if you're a witch, the thousands, the millions of nameless witches that have gone before us as wise women, as shamans. How dare we ever feel alone? If we do feel alone, it's just because we're tuned to the wrong frequency. We're not aware. We're possessed by pain. We're possessed by an illusion. We're never alone. Now, that doesn't mean they spy on you while you're having sex or in the shower. That would get boring after a while. How many naked people do you need to see once you've croaked? It's sort of boring. It's like, oh, leave them be. That's like, we have one big unspoken rule in our coven. No skyclad. We don't need to see your junk. No thanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to dim the lights. And I don't know if any of these candles are still burning, but tough. Would you? Let's No, leave that on for right now. We'll see.
Alright.
We'll see what happens. We'll take this moment to clean the snot locker. If you'll excuse me for a moment. Ah, I can breathe.
Yeah,
Before
keep
we
breathing.
set this thing on fire, I'll shut those out before we do that. But we're just going to do a little meditation thingy. So please get yourself comfortable. In a position you can stay in for a couple of minutes. Close your eyes. And I just want you to focus on your breath. I'm going to do a little prayer of invocation. So all you have to do is stay in the present moment by focusing on the breath. If you find yourself thinking, just focus on the breath. You find yourself thinking, focus on the breath. And I ask our collective guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints, angels, totems, healers, and ancestors to gather around us in a force field of light containing and protecting the work we do together this day. I ask that all information and energy that exchanges between us, both in the physical and in the non-physical, does so clearly, cleanly, and for the highest good of all concerned. For we are here only to be truly helpful. We are here to represent you who sent us, so we don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because you who sent us are directing us. We are content to go wherever you wish, knowing that you go along with us and that we will be healed as we are taught how to heal. Show us what you would have us do, where you would have us go, what you would have us say, and to whom. That together, as one, we allow the veil to thin. And that we walk free from illusion this day. That we learn, we heal, we grow, we evolve, we become the divine beings that we already are. Thank you. So more to be. Focus on your breath. And as you focus on your breath, become aware of the space in your chest as you inhale and exhale. Focus right in your heart center, right in the center of your chest. And notice, though, there is movement of the physical body, the expansion and contraction of the chest, that there is a stillness, a space within. A silent space. This is the inner body. A portal through the veil. You cannot take certain things through the veil. Yet you are predominantly already on the other side. Now allow your awareness to move upwards from the chest into the throat. Feel that hollow space. Thoughts arise. Just focus on the inner body, focus within the throat. That stillness, that silence. your awareness move upwards, through the neck, into the head, right into the center of the skull. Though you know that there are brains and nerves, sense the stillness and the empty space of the inner body and the head. Thoughts come up. Bring your awareness to that stillness of the inner body. Let it move up now to the very top of the head, to the top and very center of the top of your head, to the crown. Beyond words. My words, if anything, being just a suggestive guide. Feel that space. Follow the thread upward. To the 8th chakra. Hover above. All else fall away into the stillness of the eternal now. Into the silence of pure being. Sense the relief. Sense the release. Sense the peace that passes understanding. Sense the support of all those who love you, known and unknown. A gentle, calming force. A knowing force that all is well. You've never done anything wrong, really. That you've never left home. You only thought you did. That you are given constant guidance. That you are given constant grace. That you are given constant support. That you are held in a constant embrace. Of that which the world is called divine, one light, perceived through infinite lenses, but still one light, one truth. Feel your ancestors, genetic and archetypal. They are in this room. Commune with them. Reach out to your guides. They are closer than ever before. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. I do cleanse, consecrate, and empower this Needfire, that it be the symbolic yet powerful embodiment of the season of Samhain, that we honor and bless with love all those in the non-physical, all those beyond the veil, known and unknown, to those who have guided, to those who have guarded, to those who have taught and led and helped and healed. To our gods and our goddesses sacred, to our angels and masters and saints, welcome. Thank you. Help us. Help us to learn, to grow, to evolve. Help us to become that which we are destined to be, burning off fate and alchemizing it into destiny. We are willing to forgive. We are willing to let go. Cast the past into the fire and go free into the now. We cast the past into the fire and go free into the now. Cast the past into the fire and go free into the now. We let go of the past in grace. We let go of the past in grace. We let go of the past in grace. We let go and let God. We let go and let Goddess receive all energies that we have created. We release them to the will of the greater power of divine love, and we trust that everything is becoming fully balanced in its own time and place. And we accept that there is a greater good manifested here in the now. Let this light warm our ancestors, known and unknown, our guides, our masters, our teachers, our gods, our goddesses, our saints, our angels, and our totems and healers. But may it light our way as well, that we may experience more ease in healing, more grace in the path, more truth, as we cast our illusions into this light, that they be transformed, that we may see clearly, that we may know truth, that we may live truth, that we may be the embodiments of truth. And that we may rise from the ashes again and again and again as we peel away that which was never true. Thank you. Thank you. This Needfire is cleansed, consecrated, and empowered. So will it be. Now look upon it without thought, with innocent eyes. Do not name it. Simply see. Come fully into the now. Take this time, outside of time, to silently name those you are willing to forgive, and even those you're not willing to forgive but know you have to. Send them into the flames, your willingness. You may be aided and guided, healed and helped. People, the places, the things, your attachments, your own errors, your own lead, be alchemized into gold in the right time and place. And notice as you do the peace that comes over you. And should you need a mantra, let it simply be, I release you. Just silently add a name, add a place. I release you. This is the peace that passes understanding. You have risen above the mind. This is your natural state. And as thoughts continue to go by, just know thoughts are things. They are not who you are. You are not your pain. You are not your suffering. You are not your regrets of the past or your fear of the future. You are the witness of these things and the transformer of them purely by your awareness of them. You are a witch, an ancient spirit come into this time in this body to aid in the transformation of a time of great tribulation through your own personal path, through your own alchemy, through your transforming of knowledge into wisdom through experience, to teach as you walk as well as you talk, to be the living embodiment of truth and wisdom, step by step by step, the path of the gods that will take you all the way home to pure oneness, the pure I am, pure spirit, pure divine, pure divinity. You are no longer fully human. You are at least a hero on a quest. One day that hero will cease to be, and you will know you are an immortal, that you have never died and were never really born. And from there, you will become a god, in form, fully awakened, to create, then lay the body aside, to explore other realms. Single is the path of gods and men, separated only by power. Today, we close that gap a bit more. Blessed Samhain, so motivate.
So motivate.
Smell it now. That's benzoin and frankincense. I know how to load a cauldron.
You're gone.
Hmm?
You're gone.
Oh, I forgot my thwart fan. Oh, feather. It's so nice to have an altar right behind you when you need it. Let's make it swirl. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches. Yeah, I still got it. Now's the portion of our program where you get to do feedback. How you doing?
Good.
Good?
Good.
Better than how you walked in?
Definitely.
Good?
Excellent.
Yeah. New people?
Nice.
Didn't run screaming for your life. That's always a good sign. Good. Back row? Groovy.
Groovy.
Good. Hurry.
Good.
Connect gallery? We're good.
Better.
Any questions? Yes.
If you kind of knew, what would be the best book you'd recommend?
You've come to the right place. Well, I recommend all sorts of different books. What aspect? Let's start there. What genre? What aspect?
From for the first time in a year this morning. I didn't know I was going to come here, and I looked up the 7 chakras for some reason.
Oh, Anatomy of the Spirit. Start there.
Okay.
I mean, there are other books that are simpler, but I love Carolyn Mace. She is a breath of fresh air, and that's saying something. Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I mean, all of his stuff is great. Anything by Deepak Chopra. Notice I'm not giving you witch authors because you know them already. Scott Cunningham, Laurie Cabot, Silver Ravenwall.
Shakti Gawain.
Shakti Gawain is not a witch, but creative visualization, living in the light, Shakti Gawain. See, this whole thing of people have asked me, why do you hate the New Age? I said, because I did time in the New Age like some people did time in prison. Because in the 80s and the 90s, you didn't dare come out as a witch, not on Long Island. So I had to deal with the tinfoil hat people. And the tachyon bead salesmen and the crystal junkies. I don't mean crystal meth, I mean like, quartz. While my coven gathered, my first coven. So that was all that was available. That was before the big Wicca book boom of the mid-90s. Then it was like Llewellyn Press was cranking out a different book on Witchcraft 101 every week. That's when Amy and I met up at Borders. They were coming out like crazy. And then the movie The Craft came out. By Nancy. I can fly. It's still my favorite point of that whole movie. I can fly. So crazy. And I say people read everything, but let your gut be your guide. Because there's no end to it. I'm no herbalist, but I know how to use herbs. I'm no astrologer, but I keep an eye on the moon. You don't have to be an expert in everything as a witch. You'll find your own proclivities. You'll find what your own talents are. Like, I'm a brilliant potion witch. I'm a Pisces moon. Virgo sun, but Pisces moon. So, girl, I can mix a cocktail. I'm moving all of my stuff from one house to another. I've been doing it in little drips and drabs. But the amount of potion bottles I have is really... The amount of magical accoutrement that I have is ridiculous. Because it's been stocked away, like, in different corners, and it's all coming out. I'm like, man, I got a lot of stuff. Thankfully, the place I'm moving into is bigger. So many books.
What about, like, embracing witchcraft? Like 101, beginners, like witch.
Scott Cunningham.
Okay.
I like giving authors because then you get a nice range. But Scott Cunningham was, I think, Earth Power was the first book I read by him when I was age 12.
Solitary practitioner.
Solitary Practitioner is good, although that's particularly Wicca. Now, there is a difference between witches and Wiccans. It's the only way I can draw a correlative. Not every Catholic is a Christian, but not every Christian is a Catholic. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like that. Like, every Wiccan is a witch, technically, but not every witch is Wiccan. I mean, there are witches who eschewed the threefold law of return. Like, they don't care about the witches read. There are witches that work to harm because it's a craft. Like pottery. Like anything else, you're going to get your spectrum of people. I've just studied enough metaphysical, spiritual, and universal law to get that there's only one of us. Even on a quantum level, there's only one of us. So the harm you do with your thoughts is enough. That's why you pick them and choose them to the best of your awareness, and you forgive as often as you can. I really do recommend witches study the Course in Miracles because it's not Christianity. It's spiritual principle. The big book itself is tricky, so you try Marianne Williamson, and there's so many different...
Brene Brown.
There's so many authors who've talked and taught Course in Miracles over the decades. That's where I learned how to forgive. You know why I learned how to forgive? I was forced to. I was tired of witch wars. Because the more you fought that, the more they perpetuated. Threefold law of return, what you release turns to multiplied. So I had to learn how to forgive, but I had to learn how to forgive different than how I was raised. Because how I was raised was not real forgiveness. It was spiritual one-upsmanship. It was based on the Newtonian model. when you look at it through the quantum model, you get that you're only forgiving yourself for your own errors. And no one can do any better than their level of consciousness at the moment. And you let other people off the hook that way, you let yourself off the hook that way. You don't know now what you knew a year ago, a day ago. You know so much more now. You wouldn't have done what you did then had you known what you know now. You want that grace, you got to give that grace away. That's the only way you can prove you have it, is to give it away. Isn't that funny? The only way you can prove you have that grace is to give it away. Yeah.
I just want to say that with this being the spiritual path of empowerment, self-empowerment, it really helps if you know yourself inside and out.
Which is ongoing.
Yes, exactly. So I recommend the Self-Esteem, Your Fundamental Power,
Oh, Carolyn
and The
Mace.
Gifts of Being Imperfect by Brene Brown.
There are so many good authors now. Haven't you noticed that as the world, as it teeters more on the edge, like the consciousness is getting higher?
Mm-hmm.
Not everywhere, but it's the counterbalancing. You're part of that. You know, I was never really into protesting in the streets anyway. I mean, maybe I'm just lazy that way. I noticed that after the first Iraq war that it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do in the streets anymore. It doesn't matter how many petitions you sign. So the only real revolution is an internal one. Now, I'm finding for myself, people can disagree with that, that's fine. It's also because I'm now 49 years old. There's something about as you get closer to your 50s, you're like, this world isn't as deadly serious as people make it out to be. Because you've lived through enough, you know, like,
You start seeing things for what they really are.
and you start realizing that, you know, the death of disco is not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Do you remember the death of disco? Like, you begin realizing that, you know, I was still in my, 20s or early 30s. No, it had to be in my 30s when the towers came down, 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the day everything changed in this world. It was the tower card. We're still here. And then you get that, I mean, this is a mystical thing perhaps, but that there is no death and there is no rebirth. There is really no birth. If you're going to reincarnate, what's the fear of death about? What's the point? They're mutually exclusive. You're either an eternal being or you're afraid of death. And I see people trying to do both. It's like, well, now granted, how you die. I want to die in the saddle, which makes some poor guy the saddle. I wish that was my joke. That's Carrie Fisher, who I've acquired as a spirit guide. All the good ones I get. Just to help me be funny.
Have you gotten Alan Rickman yet? Yeah.
Oh, he's not so interested in me. And I'm not an actor that way. But I do know this, that my guides are so good. I mean, not just help me find my car keys and my cell phone, which is pretty much daily. Which they do. You gotta ask. They're not allowed to just intervene. And if you want to get like all frustrated and turn the couch upside down, you're more than welcome to. But you can just say, help. Call always has to come from this dimension. But that I have been guided to YouTubes. I have been guided to books. I have been guided to articles. I have been given prompts to call people. I've been told to stop where you are. Now, mind you, I don't get paragraphs. I get sound bites. Like, I know other people who get like these like full-blown visions and shit. Full conversations. I get visionettes. Like, that long. Oh, a picture says 1,000 words, right? Little pokes. Do this. Read that. Go there. Shut up. It's a big one. Not soft divine light of touch, speak ye little, listen much. You just go. Watch. When I hear now, it means you're drifting out of the present moment. Now, it's a command. Now. And I've been conversing with, let's talk about this angel stuff that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taping it too. It'll be up on the website soon enough. It's called Angels and Archetypes. It's working with the archetype of the guardian angel as the true self. as the higher self. It's been called so many different things. That's why I think it's easier to look at it as an angel, because angel has a mythology behind it that higher self doesn't necessarily have. It's 4 workshops. It's on Wednesday nights, 7 to 10, $30 a pop, but I give you the best that I have. Ends with a lovely graduation ceremony, as most of my stuff does. But the first thing that you do is you ask for the name of your angel, because originally you deal with it as through the illusion of separation. You say, hello, angel, knowing that it's you on a certain level, but it helps with ease of communication. So mine is named Elistariel, which I call him Ellie. With my other guides, when I call to them, they'll say, we're here, or how are you, or whatever. But when I go, Ellie, he goes, yeah? I'm like, yeah? Yes? Because he's never gone. Because I'm not separate from him. It's a whole other different approach to working with angels than, oh, asphalt to angel of grace, make for me a parking space. Nothing wrong with it. But once you've done your time in the New Age, once you've walked by a booth with people selling bronze pyramid hats, facing north, once you've seen people get implanted with one thing in one booth and then have it removed in the next, drinking, special blessed water with moldavite crystals or whatever, you start realizing that the external forms of this stuff are nice, but they don't matter. It's a personal journey. And never more so than witchcraft. That's why, you hear witch cult. There ain't no such thing as a witch cult, because I've never met more of a bunch of non-joiners than witches. Herding cats. That's what coven work is. That's why I'm an elder. I'm retired. I'm not interested in the politics of it. It's so funny they called me a high priest on the News 12 thing. I'm like, honey, I'm an elder. I told her that too. I'm like, HP means Hewlett Packard or Harry Potter. That's all it means to me. I'm not a high priest. But I would never recant being a witch. They can burn me at the stake. They can try. They got to get through my lawyers first. I love being a witch. I love being able to study whatever I want to study. Because I'm sorry, Endora is not going to convene the Witches' Council to bust me for reading Eckhart Tolle. Do you know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So since this is our season, Samhain it all, do your best. It's not a race, and you can't compare. From the Course in Miracles, there's a highly individualized curriculum. In other words, you don't have to do it like anybody else. And there's nothing wrong with traditional work. You can get a nice solid foundation from that. But at the end of the day, it's your journey. How much of the past do you want to drag along with you? How much dead elephant? What percentage of dead elephant you got behind you? I'm not done. I might have a little left in the trunk. Oh, that's from a spirit guide. That was good. I never said those words in that context before. So I know I have guides. I'm telling you, Shecky Green, right over here. But I know I'm doing my best. Do you know you're doing your best? Do you want to do your best? You can do so much of it without opening your mouth. I bet we're really lucky I didn't kiss that Blarney Stone, though. Yeah. Any questions before we wrap up? It was really, really, really my honor. Considering I was dead on the couch for 2 days, waking up to feed the cats and pack a box of glasses and then go lay down on the couch again, watch DVR and Netflix. The NyQuil ranger that I am. I'm glad I got through it. And shall we end with a lovely little prayer? Okay, one more. Smooth. Okay. Open your eyes, close your eyes, roll them back in your head. I don't care. Do what you're going to do. Dearest God, Goddess, all that is, we thank you so much for this time spent together. May you watch over, guide, and guard us. May every witch present here in this moment as well, watching, this footage, this experience, be touched by some truth today. That we be led home step by step, breath by breath to you. That we may remember who we truly are. Rise from the ashes and fly again and again and again. Blessed Samhain. Someone be. Thank you so very much. Have a lovely day. I'll get the store open.